All right, Larry Krueger here at Levi's with our instant reaction video to training camp practice number 15. Now, we'll start with the quarterbacks. Brock Purdy played pretty well, 13 of 21. He did have 2 interceptions, one from Curtis Robinson, one that was tipped and went to Tayshaun Gibson. Trey Lance was 4 of 6. He had a fumble, and he was also sacked 2 or 3 times. Sam Darnold went 5 of 9. Darnold had a touchdown. Darnold also probably had the best throw of the game of the practice. A beautiful post pattern to Braden Willis, and Willis is looking fantastic. But Darnold made a perfect pass to Willis there, and I thought that was the best pass of the entire practice. Now in the one-on-one drills, Ilm Manning really shined. The rookie guard / tackle out of Hawaii really had 2 or 3 excellent reps in the one-on-ones, and he's looking really good. I thought Ilm Manning, Manning might be that second backup offensive lineman. John Feliciano will be 1, whoever the swing tackle is could be number 2, and Ilm Manning could wind up being the 3rd guy just because he could play guard, center, and tackle. Anyway, he looked good in the one-on-ones today for sure. Also, I thought McNichols, the running back, had a terrific run towards the end of practice in the team session. McNichols is a little bit more talented than your typical, camp body running back, but I thought he looked pretty good. A couple other guys who really stood out. One, on the defensive side of the ball, there was a lot of standouts today on the defensive side of the ball. Tayshaun Gibson had the interception of Purdy. He looked good. Demo Lenore tipped the ball that Gibson intercepted. He looked really good today. And there were a number of defenders who kind of shined today. T.Y. McGill made a couple of real nice plays against the run. Fred Warner had a pass broken up. He looked really good at times today. Jalen Graham is starting to really fire. He had a couple of real nice plays against the run. Also, Austin Bryant had a tackle for a loss. The defensive end looked solid. Alex Barrett with another good play today. He had a good play against the run. Probably the 2 guys that stood out the most in practice today were guys that are not big names. One was Taylor Hawkins, the second-year corner / safety out of San Diego State. He had 3 different plays against the run where he really flashed. And if there was a highlight in the practice today, it was Robert Beal Jr., the rookie defensive end, beating Trent Williams for a sack of Brock Purdy. Beal, flashed big-time speed. And, Beal's one of these interesting guys. It's like he hasn't played a lot in this preseason. There's been some injuries. But, man, there also have been a couple highlights that indicate why the 49ers drafted this player. I mean, this guy's got absolutely incredible speed off the edge. You can see that 4.4 speed. He's very impressive, and today he beat Trent Williams with a nice little spin move and then dipped the shoulder, flattened right to the quarterback, and got an easy sack of Brock Purdy. Robert Beal Jr. might be the piece that the Niners really need opposite Nick Bosa, even more so than Drake Jackson. Now, I know that's going to sound crazy, but Beal has such incredible speed that in some ways he's the ideal guy to play opposite Bosa. You got Hargrave and Armstead inside. You got Bosa. And if you really want to put a lot of stress on an opposing offensive line, just put a 4.4 speed guy like Robert Beal Jr. out there and watch other teams just, battle to match up. I mean, you're going to have to go one-on-one with Beal, and Beal's got a ton of speed. So I thought he looked fantastic today. D. Winters made a really nice play against the run. Winters continues to make play after play after play. Javon Hargrave, I should say, got a nice sack of Brock Purdy. Samuel Womack had a pass broken up. It was a pass that was intended from Sam Darnold to Danny Gray, and Womack got in there and broke it up. Marlon Davidson had a lot of pressure in the face of Trey Lance. He really shined today. Tayshaun Gibson had the interception. Demo Lenore with the tip pass. So there was a lot of positives today on the defensive side of the ball from the 49ers perspective. Now, as far as negatives, Brock Purdy did throw two more picks. Curtis Robinson and Tayshaun Gibson picked those off. Trey Lance did have he's not getting rid of the ball fast. I mean, he took 2 or 3 sacks. He also fumbled on a pitch. Looked like it was going to be a pitch, option pitch, and he fumbled it. And he, as I said, he had 2 or 3 sacks and held the ball too long. Had a couple running plays where they would have been sacks as well. So, I mean, Trey Lance is just in that mode right now where he's just holding the ball a little bit too long. Brandon Ayuk dropped a screen pass from Sam Darnold. As I mentioned before, Trent Williams was beaten by Robert Beal Jr. for a sack. And we're still not seeing George Kittle out here. George Kittle's got the abductor. He didn't practice today. Elijah Mitchell also didn't practice today. Now, we did talk to Kyle Shanahan after practice, and he gave us a lot of good information. One of the things that he shared with us is that he was asked about the number 2 quarterback job and what he wanted to say about it. He just said, hey, it's an open competition. So they're still competing to see who's going to be the number 2 quarterback, Sam Darnold or Trey Lance. And a lot of people assume that it's going to be Sam Darnold, but as far as Shanahan's concerned, he's not ready to make that announcement yet. He did mention that Brandon Allen's wife had the baby and that he will be back at practice tomorrow. Shanahan also was asked a little bit about Elijah Mitchell's status and said that he's getting close to returning. One of the questions that came up today, Jack Hammer asked Kyle about all the national media criticism of Trey Lance and what he thought of it, what he makes of it, and how Trey is dealing with it. And Shanahan sloughed it off. He said, hey, it's kind of par for the course. It comes with the territory. And then seemed to kind of reassure the media that, Trey Lance is not being affected in any negative way, that he's a mature guy, that he understands the whole media picture, that he's not bogged down in any way by all this national media scrutiny and the national criticism that, has indicated that a lot of people indicated that they don't feel like he's going to be an NFL quarterback. As far as I asked him about the back end of the wide receiver competition, he said it's still very intense for the 4th and 5th spots. He did indicate that he believes Ray McCloud will not need to go on IR to start the year, but nothing's official there. When he was asked about Brock Purdy throwing interceptions in training camp, he kind of sloughed it off and said, hey, look, Brock's letting it rip, and if you let it rip in practice, there's going to be some interceptions. I asked him about if he's getting ready for his preseason. Has he done any, game planning yet for the Steelers? And he said that, they always start ahead of time and do a lot of game planning throughout the offseason, but that, a lot of times it's fruitless because they get to the week of the game and things change, and so they're not putting the cart too much before the horse, but it sounds like they're already in preparation for the Steelers. And then he was asked by Mike Silver at the end of the presser, will he use both kickers in the preseason game number 2 this weekend against the Broncos? And he indicated yes, that was the plan last week. He wanted to see Jake Moody and Zane Gonzalez, and it just didn't work out. But this week they will use both Jake Moody and Zane Gonzalez. I think Shanahan's playing that down a little bit, but let's be perfectly clear, that's an open competition. I mean, they invested a 3rd-round pick in Jake Moody, but if he can't do it, they're not going with him. And, they got Zane Gonzalez sitting here. They could call Robbie Gould back if they wanted to. So, that sums up the day here. Practice 15 in the books. Thanks to Pig in a Pickle for being the title sponsor of The Krug Show. And thanks to all of you guys for supporting The Krug Show on YouTube.